Today I was presenting different strategies for how to decode CVC words because a lot of my students are having a hard time blending the sounds together, which again means we do need to still work on phoneme blending and possibly segmenting. But I also want them to be practicing with the actual letters because I know there's benefit to that, and it does help with their phonemic awareness to use letters. So a lot of them are still kind of doing the classic sound by sound. So when they sound out a word, they're going l, I, p. And what I notice a lot about struggling readers is for whatever reason, they have a hard time stretching sound. So they do the short like l, I, p, which again makes it much harder to blend those sounds together. So first we talked about stretching sounds that can be stretched and how the vowel can always be stretched. So we did practice that way, but then I also showed them chunking in two other ways. So first I was talking about onset and rhyme, and I used this visual, and I said sometimes it's easier if we read the last two sounds. So we find our vowel. So I'm gonna push these away, and let's first go ahead and sound out just this part because we can stretch the vowel, so that's really helpful. Ip, ip, ip. So then I can move these away, and I'm gonna use this to remind them that I want to read this as almost like a whole unit, ip, because I've already sounded it out. I know this says ip. Now I can bring back the first sound, and I'm going to tap o, ip, lip. So we practiced that where I modeled, and then they practiced with me where we would all do it together out loud, and then we practiced where they would have whisper phones and they would whisper, and then we would say the answer. So that was kind of how I scaffolded it. But this visual kind of helped because I wanted them, some of them still kind of want to go back to lip, ip, and I want them to have this strategy because it does make it easier to decode. So ip, ip, lip. Then I want to show them the other way, and this way can be really helpful for struggling readers. And I've talked about this before, so I'm sorry if I'm a broken record, but it really does help. One of the students, the last sound is the one that she kept kind of messing up. So for this way, I put back my sounds. You know, each of these does represent a sound, but I said this time we're going to blend these two sounds before we worry about this one. So we're gonna go I, li, li. What does this say? Li. So we're gonna push those away. We're gonna read this as li, because we've already sounded it out. We know it says li, and this can stretch. So then I brought these back and I said, now I used my pointer, and I'd say, while I'm still on this, you're stretching this sound. And then the minute I tap this, you're gonna say that sound. So we went lip, lip. And again, we did that same thing where I modeled several times, then we did it together, and then they did it with their whisper phones.